Well, here it is. It's July 2024. It's probably the hottest day of the year. We're definitely in a heat dome. It's 95, 96 degrees outside, and we're heading to historic Fort Wayne in Detroit, Michigan. As you can see, once we got here, there was only me and Amelia and just two other people along with the tour guide. So, total of four visitors to the park on a Saturday morning. Unfortunately, uh, the buildings have fallen into, would you say, disrepair? Now, this Fort Wayne was named after General Anthony Wayne, who defeated the British at the Fallen Timbers Battle in 1796, resulted in the United States occupation of the Northwest Territories. Amelia, the kids and I, or not kids, Brennan and Gavin, and maybe Cheyenne, we plan on visiting the Fallen Timbers hopefully in August this year. We'll have more to share then, but looking at these buildings here, it's kind of sad. This was taken over by the city of Detroit, and just like a lot of things in Detroit, uh, it just kind of goes to waste. With looking at these buildings, the history is just falling apart, but there in the background, you can see they're building the new port of entry for the Gordie Howe Bridge for Customs, Border Patrol, where you can cross over to Canada. But looking here, back in the day, there had to be a lot of history here. For the most part, this is a self-guided tour. I mean, take all the time you want. There's not a big rush of people trying to get their perfect photographs. You're allowed to pretty much go into most areas of the fort, which are still safe to enter. But as you can see here, you can see that the decay over the last century or so has really taken effect. Here are some of the cannon and fortifications. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it's definitely the hottest day of the year. It's a heat dome, being 96 degrees outside. But as soon as you walk into these passageways and tunnels, you can really feel that air blowing in off the river. And it was probably 20 degrees cooler. Definitely felt like it. But look at the size of these doors here. I don't think anybody's kicking in that door. Just look at the craftsmanship of these old brick tunnels. I mean, there weren't no power tools, no DeWalt or any of that stuff. This was all done by hand. A lot of craftsmanship and engineering went into here. As you exit through the main passageway into the center of the fort, that's the enlisted personnel's barracks right there. And as you can see, the other two visitors and guide is over on the golf cart. And we'll just continue to make our way around. You can see 1845. Now, one of the things that me and Amelia were notified of and didn't quite know, but not until the Civil War, this fort was originally wood exterior, going all the way back to the original battles of 1812. Now, look at this. The new army decided to fly over the old army. Always got to stop and pause for a helicopter. Anyway, like I was saying, it wasn't until the Civil War that they replaced the exterior wood with brick so that they could defend against, more powerful weapons of the day, I guess. These are the cannon casements here. You can see where they'd have the back end of the cannon where they could slide it around this rail for easy maneuvering. This is the east side of the fort, kind of depicting where we're at now. If you look to the top. And going into the magazine powder room. Got to go to the powder room here in a minute. But again, you can see kind of the decay here. They don't want you climbing on some of these places. It's unsafe. And the flooring's not always the best walking through here. I don't think they were ADA compliant back in 1845, were they? As an enlisted soldier in the Army, I wonder how many times they snuck off into this room for nap time. Might be a good, cool place to take a nap. This is the Enlisted Barracks here. In regards or in comparison to the other buildings, you can definitely see it held up much better. But again, you are able to climb up some of the stairs here to look into the courtyard and other areas of the fort. But again, just watch your step. It's a little overgrown, as you can see. There's some definitely good views of the Enlisted Barracks here. That was Amelia in that previous photo too, man. I tell you what, she loves one of these old forts. There Amelia is, taking in all this history. Now, something that we can talk about also is, look how well preserved this enlisted barracks are. Then I'll show you the officer barracks. The officer barracks and housing are just falling apart. But the enlisted barracks, I mean, cost a lot of money, but you could probably turn that into something this day for people to stay in. But again, once it got handed over to the city of Detroit, you can see the neglect. I always wonder, why didn't the U.S. Parks or National Park Service take over the Fort Wayne? I mean, it was part of the Army. We went to Fort McHenry, all these other famous and historical military forts, and they're well maintained by the U.S., but here, Michigan, they don't care about history unless it's their own history that they're creating in this very moment. I guess they'd rather paint a sidewalk or a city street than take care of their ancestors. Who knows? Now, up here, this is the easternmost edge closest to the river. And climbing up here, man, it was quite the berm and kind of challenging for sure. This is us exiting the fort. Now we're headed over to, again, more of the modern history. After the War of 1812 and the Civil War, this was turned into really a Army training center. It's really famous for like the Buffalo Soldiers and all that. But again, you can see how much they care for history in Detroit. I mean, they just let it rot away and maybe they'll build something else here. But again, you can see the buildings are mostly closed. You can't go in them, they're just too dangerous. Now, the Indian Mound here, I was talking to the local historian and tour guide. This seems to predate an additional 500 years prior to the founding, going back to local legend and what the native chiefs told the original builders of the fort. So 500 years predating would be this burial mound. As we're leaving the fort, I saw this old movie theater from 1939 that had a Gone with the Wind movie poster on it, and it kind of got me to thinking.
I'm through with everything here. I want peace. I want to see if somewhere there isn't something left in life of charm and grace. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Well, I guess that just about sums up Fort Wayne. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you on the next one.